Bitcoin, a digital currency revolution, or an environmental disaster. Today we're diving into the groundbreaking white paper that started it all and exploring how this radical ideal has reshaped our financial landscape.
Oh, that's a provocative opening. I'm intrigued to hear more about this digital currency revolution.
It all began with a white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, by the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto. Published in 2008, this document laid the foundation for what would become a multi-billion-dollar industry.
So, what exactly was so revolutionary about this paper?
At its core, Bitcoin proposed a radical new approach to online transactions. It's designed to be a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, allowing online payments to be sent directly between parties without going through a financial institution.
That sounds like it could disrupt the entire banking system. How does it actually work?
It's built on a system we now call blockchain, though interestingly the paper doesn't use that term specifically. Essentially, it's a public ledger that records all transactions, creating a chain of digital signatures that everyone can see and verify.
A public ledger? That sounds like it could have some serious privacy concerns.
You'd think so, but the paper addresses this cleverly. While all transactions are indeed public, the system maintains privacy by keeping public keys anonymous. It's comparable to how stock exchanges work. You can see that trades are happening in their size, but you don't know who's making them.
That's an intriguing balance between transparency and privacy. But surely there must be more to it than just a public ledger?
Absolutely. The real innovation lies in how this system solves the double spending problem without relying on a central authority. This was a major hurdle for previous digital currency attempts.
Could you explain what the double spending problem is? I'm not sure all our listeners will be familiar with it.
Of course, in the digital world, it's theoretically possible to copy and paste digital money and spend it multiple times. This is called double spending, and it's a significant issue that previous digital currency attempts struggled with. Traditional financial systems solve this by having a central authority, like a bank, keep track of all transactions.
So how does Bitcoin tackle this without a central authority?
Bitcoin uses a clever system called proof of work. Essentially, computers on the network compete to solve complex mathematical problems. The first one to solve the problem gets to add a new block of transactions to the chain and is rewarded with newly created bitcoins.
That sounds like it could use a lot of computing power. Is that why we hear about Bitcoin mining?
Exactly right. Bitcoin mining is the process of using powerful computers to solve these mathematical problems and add new blocks to the chain. It's called mining because it's analogous to gold mining. You expend resources, in this case, computing power and electricity, to obtain new bitcoins.
That's fascinating. But I have to ask, why go to all this trouble? What's wrong with our current financial system?
Well, the paper points out several issues with the current trust-based model. For one, completely non-reversible transactions aren't really possible, since financial institutions can't avoid mediating disputes. This mediation increases transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions.
I see. So Bitcoin aims to create a system where trust isn't necessary?
That's right. It's based on cryptographic proof instead of trust. The idea is that any two willing parties can transact directly with each other without needing a trusted third party. This could potentially reduce fraud, lower transaction costs, and enable new types of transactions that weren't previously possible.
It's amazing how much thought went into every aspect of this system. But I have to wonder, how has Bitcoin performed in the real world since this paper was published?
That's a complex question. Bitcoin has certainly made a huge impact. It's grown from an obscure concept to a global phenomenon worth hundreds of billions of dollars. As of 2021, the total market cap of Bitcoin reached over $1 trillion at its peak. It sparked a whole new industry of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. But it's also faced significant challenges and controversies.
What kind of challenges and controversies are we talking about?
Well, there have been issues with price volatility, for one. The value of Bitcoin has been known to fluctuate wildly, which can make it challenging to use as a stable currency. There have also been scalability issues. As the network grows, it can become slower and more expensive to process transactions.
I've also heard concerns about its environmental impact due to the energy consumption of mining. Is that a significant issue?
It certainly is. The energy consumption of Bitcoin mining is a major concern. Some estimates suggest that Bitcoin mining consumes as much energy as entire countries. For example, a 2021 study by Cambridge University found that Bitcoin consumes around 121.36 terawatt hours per year, which is more than the entire country of Argentina.
Wow, that's a staggering amount of energy. Are there any efforts to address this issue?
Yes, there are ongoing efforts to make Bitcoin mining more energy efficient. Some miners are moving towards renewable energy sources, and there are proposals for alternative consensus mechanisms that could reduce energy consumption. For instance, Ethereum, another major cryptocurrency, is planning to switch to a proof-of-stake system, which is expected to use significantly less energy.
That's interesting. It sounds like many revolutionary technologies, Bitcoin has had both positive and negative impacts.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that the Bitcoin we see today has evolved significantly from what was proposed in this original paper. Many of the challenges it faces weren't anticipated at the time. But regardless of how one feels about Bitcoin itself, there's no denying the impact of the ideas presented in this paper.
How so? What's been the broader impact beyond just Bitcoin?
Well, the concept of a decentralized, trustless system for digital transactions has sparked a revolution in how we think about money and financial systems. We're seeing blockchain technology being applied in areas far beyond cryptocurrency, everything from supply chain management to voting systems.
That's fascinating. It's amazing how one paper could have such far-reaching consequences.
Indeed. And it's not just about the technology itself. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have sparked important conversations about the nature of money, the role of central banks, and the future of our financial systems.
It's certainly given us a lot to think about. Do you think cryptocurrencies will eventually replace traditional currencies?
That's a hotly debated question. While some enthusiasts believe cryptocurrencies will eventually dominate, others see them as complementary to traditional currencies. What's clear is that they're forcing us to rethink our assumptions about money and value.
It's an exciting time to be alive, witnessing these changes firsthand.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that we're still in the early stages of this technology. The financial landscape 10 years from now could look very different from what we see today.
Well, as fascinating as this discussion has been, I'm afraid we're running out of time.
Indeed we are. Before we wrap up, I think it's worth emphasizing that While Bitcoin and blockchain technology are exciting and potentially transformative, they're also complex and still evolving. It's important for people to do their own research and understand the risks before getting involved.
That's excellent advice. Whether you're a Bitcoin believer or a skeptic, staying informed about these technological developments is crucial in our rapidly changing world.
Absolutely. And who knows, the next revolutionary idea that changes the world could be just around the corner. Until then, this is Nico Trataris, signing off.